my name is Maya and welcome to my channel. Basically, I'm going to be doing a story time about how I found out I was pregnant at 18 years old and had my daughter at 19 years old. So a little backstory about how I met my child's father. We knew each other for quite a while. I moved to this city back my 6th grade year, and that is where I met him in school, but we never really like talked or anything like that until high school. My sophomore year of high school, I moved actually next door to him, and even at that time we weren't romantically involved or anything like that. I was actually dating someone else at the time, but he was my neighbor. You know, we were friends. Fast forward a little while later, my boyfriend at the time and I had broken up, and you know, I was single for a while, but I slowly, but surely started to become more romantically involved and, developed a relationship with my child's father. But I'm not gonna go too much into detail with that. The summer of last year, we broke up in August, and then a little bit into September, I started noticing that I was feeling a little different. And you can definitely tell when something's off and different about your body. But I noticed that I typically eat a whole lot. I always had a big appetite, and I noticed that I would be super duper hungry, but I would eat just a tiny bit of food and I'd be super duper full after I ate maybe 2 or 3 bites of something, which isn't normal for me. And I was also noticing that I was super tired all the time. So I go to school. I was in beauty school. I had just graduated from high school, and I went to the Aveda Institute. And I would, blame it on the fact that we were doing facials and massages and things like that as to why I was so tired all the time. And, I never really put any thought into me possibly being pregnant, because my child's father and I had scares before, because we weren't really careful when it came to sex at all, which is very irresponsible. But we were very unprotected most of the time, and I had a scare before, and I wasn't pregnant, so I didn't think that I was pregnant this time. But another thing that I should have paid attention to is that I noticed that I started going every day on the way home from school. Before I got onto the freeway, I would stop at Church's Chicken and get biscuits every single day. And before that, I never really went to Church's at all to get anything. But I started to go in there every day to get biscuits. And that's it, nothing else. So fast forward into September, I went to Walmart and I had bought a pregnancy test because my eating was just off and I was always tired, and I didn't really think that I was pregnant, but I knew that I wanted to get that possibility out of the question so I could figure out what it is that was going on with me. So I got a pregnancy test, but like I said before, we had a pregnancy scare before, and so I didn't think I didn't want to get an expensive pregnancy test that I was just gonna pee on and it say negative and me throw away. So I got like the cheapest pregnancy test that I could have found at Walmart. It was like literally tiny, and you didn't even pee on it. You peed in like a cup and took a syringe and you dropped the pee on it. It was like 88 cents. And I took that home and took the pregnancy test. I sat in the bathroom. I didn't tell anybody I was taking it. I didn't even tell my child's father, who lived right next door, that I was taking the test, because we weren't together or anything, and I didn't feel the need because I didn't think I was pregnant. So I peed in a little cup, like a little Dixie cup, and I dropped it on there, and I didn't even have to wait. It just had 2 dark lines on it, 2 purple lines on it, as soon as I dropped pee on it. And so So there were 2 dark lines on that. I didn't even have to wait, you know, hardly any time at all. And I sat there looking at it, and I thought to myself, like, this has to be defective. Like, I'm not pregnant. And, you know, it was 88 cents. So I'm like, yeah, it's, you know, it's cheap. So I called my best friend, and I told her about it. She really didn't have much to say. She was in shock. But I asked her if she could come with me to, you know, our local women's clinic so I could get, you know, tested there. And, you know, she, of course, came with me. So we got to the clinic, and I told them I was there to get a pregnancy test, and they brought me back to get me a test. And when I got the test, they took the urine sample and had me go back to a room with another woman, and she talked to me about how you know, little things like how abstinence is the only way to prevent STDs and pregnancy 100%, and talked to me about my beliefs and my home life, my relationship, and things like that. And we were talking for quite a while, just having a nice conversation, and another woman knocked on the door and came in, and the woman handed me an envelope, like a blank envelope, and she said to me, "This is a proof of pregnancy." And it's like my whole world just stopped for a second. Like, I was just like, I did not know what to say. I didn't know what to think. And so the lady's like, "Congratulations, you're pregnant." And I'm looking like, this is not a congratulations moment. I don't want to hear congratulations. And so I started crying, and the lady started praying for me, and I just started bawling my eyes out. My best friend was in the waiting room waiting for me, and I came out with like tears coming down my face, like hyperventilating. And you know, she's like, "Bitch, what?" And I handed it to her, and I'm like, "I'm pregnant." And like, we were both just like staring at each other, and I, you know, pulled it together so we could go out to the car. And I'm, you know, going to unlock my doors, and I started bawling out, like bawling my eyes out. Like, I couldn't believe I was pregnant. Like, I couldn't be pregnant. I was only 18. I just graduated high school like months ago. And so she's like, "What are you gonna do?" I was like, "You know, I'm gonna be a mom. Like, there's nothing else I can do." Like, I didn't know what to say. So we really, you know, got in the car, and we drove back to my house. And my brother was a senior, going into his senior year, that following school year. And so, no, he was a senior. He's in his senior year. And so, I waited for him to get off his school bus, and I sat in my car. And you know, when he got off the bus, I asked him to get in. And my brother, he makes music, and so he's like already coming to the car. He's like, "Okay, I want to show you my music, my new song." And so I'm like, "Okay, but I gotta tell you something." And he asked me what I had to tell him, and I told him that I was pregnant, because my brother is my best friend, and so I couldn't hide it from him. I'm not good at hiding things from anyone anyways. And so I knew I had to tell him, because I couldn't walk around the house and not tell him. But when I told him, he didn't believe me. Like, he didn't believe me when I said that I was pregnant. He's like, "Okay, plug the aux cord up." I'm like, "I just told you that I'm pregnant." And he's like, "I don't believe you." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Because I don't believe you." And like, we're going back and forth, and he's telling me he doesn't believe me. I'm over here like, here's my proof of pregnancy. I'm pregnant. And he still didn't believe me. I showed him the pregnancy. Oh, he's smiling, mama. I showed him the pregnancy test. He didn't believe me, especially because the pregnancy test I took was 88 cents. It looks like a toy. Like, those pregnancy tests, it's not like the long stick that you pee on. It's like literally like a small rectangle with like a little screen on it and a dot where you drop the pee. So he's like, "That's not real." I'm like, "I'm really pregnant." He's like, "I'll believe it when I see it." Easy enough. I got him out the way. At least I told him. So then the next person I told, which should have been the first person I told, but I got out of my car. I walked next door to my ex-boyfriend's house, my child's father's house, and he was sitting in his car. He rolled down the windows, and you know, we had broken up, but we weren't on the worst of terms. We weren't on like necessarily good terms, but we weren't on terrible terms or anything like that. So like he opened up the window and he's like, "What's up?" And I just looked at him and I was just like, "I'm pregnant." And he's like, "For real?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I asked him if he wanted to see the proof of pregnancy paper, and he's like, "No, I believe you." And the only thing he said was like, "What are you gonna do?" And in my mind, I'm like, "What do you mean, what am I gonna do? Like, it should be like a we thing." And so I kind of like was taken aback by it, but then I'm just like, I guess I'm gonna keep it. Like, I didn't know what else to say, and he just said okay. But we didn't really say anything else. Like, he just, you know, drove away, and I went back home. And that night I went into my parents' bedroom because, like I said, I'm not good at hiding things. I'm not good at being secretive. So I was like, okay, I gotta tell my mom and dad, because I'd rather tell them than they figure it out and then they'd be mad. So I went and sat at the end of their bed, and we're having a normal conversation. And you know, I was already like a little bit afraid to say anything to them, because you know, in the past I'd be like, "I'm pregnant," and they'd be like, "No, you're not." I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm not pregnant." You know, just playing around for some reason, because I have like a terrible sense of humor. And I looked at them and I was just like, "I have to tell you guys something." And they're like, "What?" And I told them, I just said I'm pregnant. And my dad was like, "Why would you say some shit like that?" And I looked at him and I'm like, "Why would I lie about some stuff like that?" And so he's looking at me, I'm looking at him, we're just staring at each other like, and I was kind of scared to see what he was gonna say. Oops, sorry, mama. So I handed my mom the proof of pregnancy, and she's like,
"True, she's pregnant. She has a due date."
And so he's just like, "What are you gonna do?" I was like, "I'm gonna be a mom." And at first my dad was like not trying to like hear it. Like, he's just thinking like, "I don't think that's the right decision. I don't think you're ready for a baby, and I don't think that, you know, now's a good time for you." And I would just tell him like, that's not out of, like, it's not an option for me. And you know, I believe everybody should have a choice whether or not, you know, to abort a child or not. But my choice is to not, because I just feel like, for me, I don't think it's fair, because that child didn't ask to be here, and everything happens for a reason in my eyes. And I feel like God gave me, you know, a child, and I can't just get rid of a child because I chose to be irresponsible and have sex without protection. You know, it's not like the circumstance was, you know, I became pregnant due to a misfortunate, you know, occurrence or something like that. It was just me being irresponsible. So I can't abort a child because I was irresponsible. And so that's just how I see it. And so I just told them, like, I'm gonna have to be a mom. You guys don't have to, like, you know, help me. You know, I'll do it myself, but you know, I'm gonna have to, you know, be a parent. And so that was that. And they didn't really say much about it. My mom just told me, like, oh, what's the matter, mama? So yeah, my mom just told me that she supported me in whatever, you know, decision I made, and you know, it's my decision. She'll be there for me whatever, you know, I choose, which was great. It was so nice having my mom's support. I didn't really tell, you know, many other people yet, because I wasn't really ready to share that. And so my child's father ended up texting me that night, and he just said that he didn't think it was a good idea for me to keep the baby. And you know, it was really making me, you know, upset at the fact that he could say that, because we were irresponsible. It's like we didn't even try to protect ourselves from we didn't try to, you know, prevent this situation from happening. We weren't careful at all, like at all. And so, you know, we argued about that for months on end, and you know, that made it, we, you know, got to the point where we were on bad terms. We didn't speak much throughout my whole pregnancy, which was very unfortunate. But you know, I understand, like, he's young, I'm young, and you know, he was scared. Like, he wasn't ready to be a dad. What's the matter, stinker mama? So, you know, I see that now. But eventually I told my other brothers, my two youngest brothers, and they're excited, and you know, his family was, you know, excited, and then they wanted me to know, like, I wasn't in it alone, which was very nice. I had a very good support system, but it was a hard time, because you go from being, you know, irresponsible, and you know, you could do whatever you want, you could spend your money on whatever you want, you can, you know, take your time and spend it however you like. But once you become pregnant, it's like your life isn't over. Of course, your life is definitely not over, but you're not living just for yourself anymore. You have to worry about someone else as well, because that person, you know, depends on you. Like, my daughter is, you know, my world, but it is different. Like, I can't, you know, just get up and go whenever I want to, or, you know, stay out late, or, you know, I don't even, you know, go out and do things that I used to do, because I don't like to, you know, put her on my mother. You know, so unless I'm like working or something, I don't ask my mom to watch her. So you just have to realize that things are going to be a little different, but it doesn't mean your life is over, you know. And you know, as long as you realize that, as long as you love that baby and do your best to take care of them, you really can't fail as a parent. You really, I think it was my mother, told me, like, you really can't fail as a parent as long as you do your best, you know. As long as you're doing your best, you'll do fine. But I just want you to know that, like, no matter what, if you think you can't get pregnant, you can. It's very, very, very possible. You know, and, you know, it might not happen right away. Like, my child's father and I were together, you know, on and off for about 2 years. And, you know, I was never pregnant. So that's why I never thought I would be pregnant when I took that pregnancy test. But it's very much real. And I'm very grateful that I was at least out of high school, so I didn't have to try to go to school and raise a child at, you know, the same time. Because it is hard. It's very hard, especially being a single parent. It's very difficult. Sleep is a thing of the past, but it is like a wonderful thing. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced in life, and I'm very grateful that I have had the opportunity to become a parent. You know, even though I am pretty young, I'm 19 years old now. It's very rewarding. It's very, you know, exciting to see your baby grow and learn and, you know, do new things and smile at you. And ooh, here, mommy. But I just wanted to make this video for anyone who might be pregnant, or, you know, think they might be pregnant, or someone who, you know, is a young mother, or just a mother who, you know, just needs somebody to relate to. Just let you know that, like, you can do it. Don't give up, and just keep your head up. Like, there's other people out here who would, you know, love to be there and that can relate to you. And it's not the end of the world if you do become pregnant at a young age, or pregnant and you're a single mother. Of course it's not. What's the matter? Yeah. Of course it's not ideal, but you'll do fine. You'll do great. If you like this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for watching.